40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. 40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim. Forty Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Green White Checker TV, where tonight we have the Area 51 IndyCar Series at, I'm never going to get this one, Andrew, Mobility Resort Motegi, or as I always have been calling it, Twin Ring Motegi, say here in Japan. And yeah, so this is, I don't know, I feel like this is probably one of the more difficult ovals on the IndyCar schedule, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Two very, very different shaped corners. And so it's going to be a lot of adjustment on how you want to approach this race tonight. So obviously a long break for a couple things. We had the awesome sim gaming expo. Apologies to the non-sim racing things, as well as the big iRacing build week, which we're just basically 1 week past. So had also a really big update to the update. So yeah, so a few things changing with some of the cars, adding new tracks, iRacing always making some big changes. But the big one, of course, for Andrew, for all the drivers, is all the overlays. It's a completely different in-car UI, so it's going to change things up a bunch here, I think, for these drivers. Just probably still kind of trying to get everything comfortable for themselves.
Yeah, I think it's definitely one of those things where you have a whole different setup ahead of you, and you're right. It's something that took me by surprise when I did my own racing earlier this weekend. Noticing that everything in the sim was different here. So it's going to take a little bit of getting used to for these guys. And I think we had a whole brand new car revamp earlier this season with the change of the sound of the cars and the change of the feel of the cars and everything. I think if they were able to adjust to that, they could adjust to something like this as well. So it's going to be a little bit different for us as well, just trying to cycle through the replays of the cars and everything. But I think after a whole sim game expo, as you said, everyone's a little bit more rejuvenated and feeling a little bit more like they're being seen. And these guys that have these abilities are able to showcase themselves in such a way. And that really helps us too on the broadcasting side of things, if you agree with me there.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I got to watch some of the streams from the sim gaming expo. I'll get it right eventually, and it was really, really cool to see. I mean, I was able to watch Christopher in some of the races. Matt Wagner was broadcasting over there live with P1. I think it was with Gary Godso, if I'm not mistaken. So it was really, really fun to see and hear. And obviously Jim Herrick with 40 Racewear representing over there as well with some of his awesome stuff with the gloves and the shoes. And I say he's got more and more stuff coming in. And I was telling you at the beginning, I'll say once he gets the stock back after the expo, I definitely have some things on my purchase list that I would like to pick up from him. For especially like the endurance events and stuff like that. You don't think much of it, but after I run some longer stints, like my feet, especially my heel, I feel like I'm just digging into my pedals. So I'm really excited to see.
It's definitely something to think about. Yes.
Yeah, and I talked to Craig, and he gave me a list of what he's been using.
Actually, at one point, I saw a picture of Tony Kanaan an IndyCar racing driver that was hanging out with these guys too, and that's
Yeah, it's really yeah, you're right, Tony. I did see Tony Kanaan over there as well. It brings out some really big names. It's been so much fun to see. So that said, though, these guys have put down their qualifying laps, and we're about to get things underway. And right where we left off, these guys right on top of each other. Edson Santos gonna get the pole tonight by 1/1000th of a second over Matt Wagner. Then you got Larry Yingling, great qualifying effort for him in that 67 car in third. Jim Herrick just mentioned that 40 Raceware team. He's in that number 40 car tonight in fourth. Ryan Kelly fifth. So a couple of the oval guys on the NASCAR side, they're showing their muscle here tonight. Third and fifth. Chris Stouffer right next to them in sixth. Frank Irwin Jr. also great qualifying for him. Seventh. Craig Forsyth, our points leader, in eighth. Jeff Heisong, Gary Laverne rounding out our top 10. Continuing down, you got Hugo Galaz there, 11th. Eric Schaus in 12th. And then you've got Eric Peterson, 13th. Shane Coker, 14th. Wayne Campbell, Devin Brock, 15th, 16th. Charles Teed, Bill Burrell there, 17th and 18th. They got Nicholas Stockner, Brandon Briggs sneaking in there. I didn't notice him initially. He's popped in there. He's going to start in 20th. And then Daniel Durazo, Joseph Morales opting not to qualify here this evening. And so, yeah, so we got a little fella sneaking in there last second. Didn't think I was going to notice him. And that's going to be that number 39 of Brandon Briggs. So I'll say he's definitely one that helps on the super speedway side of things on the Friday and Sunday nights. Really excited to have him join the party over here tonight.
I'm actually checking out the point standings here too, and it seems that we still have Craig that's running this series right now. The top four are here in the series tonight, but Chris Chabot does not seem to be on this grid right now. Hugo Galaz is in sixth place, and he has been someone that we've been watching. Definitely had a great last couple of races here, especially at the Auto Club and Milwaukee races there. He's managed to pull himself back into this championship fight here. He's a little bit behind, but if you're momentum, you got all the stuff going for you there.
Yeah, and it does look like we do have a couple guys, that aren't here tonight. I say it might just be schedule conflicts, or say the joke always whenever we would have races like this, like, oh, they didn't make it through customs. So I'll say maybe somebody brought a carry on they weren't supposed to, and might be still talking with some agents here. So. But yeah, we do have 22 cars, so great grid here tonight. And again, I mean, you can speak to this, Andrew. I mean, they're coming down the backstretch here. You got turns 1 and 2, turn 3 and 4, just completely polar opposite tracks. For maybe those familiar with NASCAR, it's kind of like a Darlington to me, where you've got very different radius turns at this track, or even, again, like a Gateway as well.
Turn 1 and 2, you're pretty much flat the whole way around. Trying to find the clean air as best you can, even though it's very difficult. But in turn 3 and 4, that's when you're going to be off the throttle and trying to find the best line through the corners as possible. So these guys waited for the green flag, and it looks like we're ready to go here.
Yep, we are underway again. The leader has controlled the starts and restarts. That's why you see him lay off of the pace car. And it's going to be Edson leading them into turn number 1 for the first time. Matt Wagner is going to hang onto that second spot. And I did notice Ryan Kelly, I'm not sure, may not be actually on track at the moment, or maybe actually, I think he is. Yeah, I think he may have started from the pits, actually, after his really great qualifying effort. So unfortunate to see that, but maybe just wasn't really ready to be in the thick of things right off the bat here. We can see already Edson, you can see the snake already forming there, trying to break that draft away as these guys continue to. Now it's for this pack here, though. It's going to be all about finding that clean air. Just get yourself a little bit of air on that nose. He got a couple running way up top there. Oh, and there's contact. That's going to send Laverne.
Yeah, I think I was just going to mention, as right before the contact, it seems like everyone does that sort of snake motion to try and maintain their position, because as I mentioned, you go through turn 1 and 2 very much flat. So if you're going flat, you're getting the most amount of speed possible right on the entry of turn 1 and through the corner. So you want to try and break that speed as much as you possibly can. And right in the middle of the pack, it's very difficult to maintain that speed, especially if you're trying to follow there. You saw a couple cars go wide, and I think what happened there was someone went very wide and tried to cut down. And unfortunately,
yeah, I think it may have actually been.
Let's see what happened.
Oh yeah, actually, I think it was Peterson. So I think what happened there is I think Peterson reacted to Forsyth. Yeah, I'm looking at there a little bit. So let's go focus on that number 36 car. And what you're going to see is that we were talking about those cars running way up against the wall. Craig was one. And so right here, I think he's going to see that's 99 comes down just a little bit. He sees that in his peripheral. And so he reacts to that. But unfortunately, Gary Laverne there, honestly, just, wrong place, wrong time. Nothing he did wrong there. Just unfortunately, kind of the bystander of that one. And yeah, just a tough break. And I was watching, he was trying to limp it back to the pits, but just unfortunately could not get it there. Had to take a tow. And so that's going to put him at least one lap down. And then looking at pit road, surprisingly no takers. I thought we'd see at least somebody try to pop in there, maybe take at least a splash of fuel, but surprisingly, I mean, you feel like somebody would have gone there, right, Andrew?
It's still kind of early to do that, but yeah, someone in the last 3 or 4 positions definitely could jump on the pit lane there to do something a little bit different, to come into the pits and say, hey, I'll just like top off on maybe 2 gallons of fuel, and maybe that'll help me down the road. But it depends on what these guys are practicing, saying, okay, I could do this on 2 or 3 full stints. It could change based on what they're feeling, but yeah, I think if you're at the back, no matter what, when a caution comes out, you want to make it your way into the pits to top off on fuel. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on them. So we'll wait and see. I believe these guys might get the one to go this time around, and maybe somebody's going to top off on the one to go. That's always an opportunity as well. While we have a moment to talk about the point side of things. So this is race number 9 of the season. Obviously, like I said, a long break in there. And we're starting to get into the drop weeks as well, Andrew. So right now, basically, it's counting the best 7 of their 8 starts. After tonight, I believe it's going to go then to the best 7 of their 9 starts. So that's going to be, again, where things really start to show up. So with the drop week starting to kick in, Craig Forsyth has a 20-point lead over Edson Santos. Edson's got about 31 over Stouffer 10 over Wagner. And then, like you mentioned with Chris Chabot, he was top 5 entering tonight. Unfortunately, not here this evening. So that's going to bump Hugo Golaz potentially up as well. So, and downside for Hugo is he's already missed 2 starts on this one. So he's going to pretty much have to try to make it the rest of the way to have all of his drop weeks accounted for.
I see some takers coming into pit lane here with
yeah, we did have a few there. So it looks
lap.
like
you got to mention that people were going to pit right before the green flag comes out. So I guess that's kind of accurate here to have some takers. I want to do a little bit of a different strategy.
I mean, like I said, if you're a little bit further back there, might as well take the chance on it. I mean, I'm looking at Joseph Morales. He started shotgun, so he's actually net 2 spots ahead from where he qualified. Ken mentioned Gary Laverne is back out on track as well, showing 2 laps down in that number 34. But again, the big thing on that one is he's the only car a lap or more down. So you never want to root for yellows, but unfortunately he's in the position where he's going to have to kind of root for yellows to at least get back to 1 down. And that'll then, of course, open up lots of opportunities. But once you're 2 down or more, you really need to have a break sooner than later. So now it's back to Edson. He's got to now figure out when does he want to go on the single file restart. Everybody in the back's got to mind their P's and Q's, and we are down and away. And so far, so good. Looks like a little bit of movement further back there. Saw one jumping. I think that's Devin Brock jumping to the outside here, trying to keep that momentum built up as they head into one once more, starting lap number 6.
It looks like this is the best time to do it is on the first or second lap of the run here, because that's when you're at your lowest speed. You're not really trying to fight the dirty air too much. So if you can find some way to get by someone on the restart, someone very high in 3 and 4 there. Actually, 2 cars. At least Stockner got a little bit high. And maybe that might have been...
I think maybe been Brandon Briggs as well.
Yeah, Brandon Briggs. Everyone seems to be okay, though. I don't see any big damage there, but it just kind of completes what I was saying. That on the restart, that's your best time to really make the moves, especially when everyone's at a little bit of a lower speed, not really feeding too much dirty air to the cars behind. You could maybe try and outsmart someone with like a sneaky outside-inside move. But some people are going to pick up some spots, and some people like Brandon Briggs and Stockner might lose a couple spots, which would really help you if you're trying to get into the top 10.
I do not know how Wayne Campbell just held on to that car. he and Eric Schaus had a little bit of contact there, and that shoved Wayne up to the top of the second. I'm going to jump back. So we need to see this again. You can see they enter side by side here in 3, but then watch right here. You see just a little bit of tire-to-tire contact, and I mean that car is pitched sideways, and then you see he catches it, and a lot of times that's where you're going to go straight to the outside wall, but somehow Wayne Campbell hangs on to that car. So obviously lost a lot of track position, but doesn't have to burn a fast pair. But man, that definitely caught his attention there.
Watching the battle for the lead here between Matt Wagner, Edson Santos, and they're very much side by side, and Edson's trying so hard to take the defensive line through both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, which is very effective when it comes to this track because you really need a lot of momentum to pass on the outside. But Wagner has found some way to slide his car in the tightest of spots to try and keep the momentum going as he almost gets a piece of the turn 4 wall there. But he's keeping himself in it. He's probably wearing the right side tires out a little bit more than he wants to, but Edson can't just run away and feed him dirty air that keeps him a half to 7 or 8 tenths of a second back. So let's keep watching this because I think Edson's keeping a little bit more heat in his tires by the weaving and trying the blocking and everything. But yeah, you see Matt just getting right into that mix now where he's going to be stuck in that dirty air, but he's taking a lot of smart moves to try and see if he can make a move on the outside.
Yeah, and you can see, like we talked about, just staying about a groove, maybe half a groove off, just trying to find some clean air on the front wing of that 6 car. And you can see, and sometimes there's times he's like, you know what, I'm not going to chase him all the way down the track. So, and there's times where he's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to steal the draft on exit. So I think it depends on how he gets out of the turn. And so, like right here, last time he followed him, yeah, he's going to do so. So far, it seems like he follows the draft out of 3 and 4, doesn't worry about it through 1 and 2. But you're right, though, he was really close to getting him the last couple laps, and it's kind of, I wouldn't say fizzled out, but it's kind of settled in a little bit about that 2/10 or so mark between the two of them. A few other spots here, you got Frank Irwin Jr., Jeff Heisung going after one another, and also got to give some love over to Mr. Fritsch over here, peeking in over on the YouTube chat. I said, hope you're doing well, sir. So I always like to try to peek on you when you're doing your OP Super Speedway races. So yeah, hope you're having a good evening. Appreciate you popping in over here and say watching these guys do some oval racing with the open wheelers.
Some bad news, Gael. I think Eric Schaus has bent the floor on his car. He had contact with turn 4 about 2 laps ago, and he's starting to drop right through the field. I think he got just a little bit of that high groove there, and I did see the crunch of that floor there. So Schaus is going to start dropping through the field here little by little.
Yeah, so he's staying up against the wall so he can't see it. Yeah, you can see the little wrinkle right in the center. And yeah, it doesn't look like much, but when you look at the inside, you see how it's just completely smooth. That little dip in there, that's kind of the telltale that he's got the wall pretty decently. Probably not enough for a meatball, but like you said, that's going to make that car extremely tight.
Yeah, I like how both of us are trying to mask that a little bit. Like, oh, it's just a little bit of a wrinkle. He's hiding it from us. You know, these things happen, and these guys are the best drivers in the world, and the best drivers in the world still seem to manage to find a way to get up to the wall there. So, yeah, we've all been there. I've been there. I admit it. Just you feel like you got a lot of good things going, and the next thing you know, you straighten out the wheel a little bit too early, and the wall's right there. And that's really kind of the end of your race until you can get into the pits to try and fix something, especially if you lose 6-7 spots when you feel like you had a bunch of nice spots going there.
Yeah, and I was saying, I was looking at the spots, and right now, kind of the go-to is about 3 spots gained. I was looking at some of the drivers, and so you've got Stouffer up 3 spots, you've got Heisung up 3 spots, as well as, well, I was about to say Hugo Galaz, but it looks like Craig just got back by him. But a couple big gainers, though. Devin Brock in that 27 car, he is up 6 spots. Again, you kind of got to move forward if you're running that Alex Palou livery on that 27 machine. Wayne Campbell up 4 spots, but if this guy would get some good qualifying runs in here, I feel like he'd be giving everybody a run for the money. But I think he just likes to drive through the field. And that's Daniel Durazo, who's up 9 spots up into that 12th position here. So he's going to try to continue to crawl his way up. And we've talked about him where he's so strong. Just it seems like if it wasn't for bad luck, he'd have none at all at the end of these races. So We'll have to keep an eye on him for sure. And then we saw a little earlier there Ryan Kelly making some moves. He's now trying to chase down Charles Teed there. They're about in the 14th, 15th positions here.
If anybody has watched me in the Classic IndyCar series, I feel like I'm the Daniel Durazo of that series. I don't ever seem to qualify well, but for some reason, spots just come to me more and more during that series, and it's not really a strategy you choose to employ. You know, you want to qualify as best you can to put yourself in a spot where you can battle everyone that's ahead of you and not behind you. But sometimes it works out that way, where that people sort of qualify much better than they feel like they should, and they start to fall back a little bit. And it's a risky strategy, but for Daniel Durazo, you're right. It seems to work every race for him, where he starts a little bit more behind where his actual pace is, but he manages to find a way through the field during the race. And it's something to be commended for, especially at a track like Motegi, where it's next to impossible to really get a good run on someone and pass them.
Yeah, this is probably one of the more difficult tracks to pass that you saw right there. I think Devin was trying to see if he could get underneath Wayne Campbell. Wayne was running pretty much that exact same groove, and he definitely had to catch that car a little bit to avoid it in contact. And then, so we were just talking about it, lurking in the background now is Daniel Durazo. But I gotta say, if I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw some smoke coming off the right rear, possibly of Eric Schaus there, as he's going to split the middle here, going through 1 and 2, a little bit of contact on the entry there, and he's going to grab 2 spots there for the price of 1. We'll see if he can hang it through 3 and 4, and yes, he's going to grab 2 spots. Even with the damage, he's made some good adjustments to keep that car working okay.
Durazo's currently working on, that got close there with Eric Schaus, who's falling through the field still with that damage. Durazo came under pressure there from Devin Brock a little bit. We got 4 cars going into turn 3 here.
Yeah, it looks like Brock's going to try to roll the inside. We'll see how the momentum goes. Can he clear? Yep, he's going to clear Schaus there. We'll see. I'll say, is Schaus going to be content with that? And that answer is no. He's going to take it back to the inside in 1 and 2, and almost contact between the two of them there once more. But this time Brock will clear, and that should keep him safe for the moment. But we'll see if he has enough draft. Maybe see if he can have Hugo Wayne Campbell, I apologize. Maybe pull him along and kind of get him to break free a little bit from that 72. And I think now he's got that breather room he was looking for. And it's like you said, this is a very tough track to pass that. And Matt was trying to make that move early, because look at the gaps between the front couple guys. It's about 1.1, 1.2. Very evenly spaced from first to about 5th here. And then it's a little tighter, still about half a second, though, with Haisong Forsyth behind Larry Yingling. So it's like you said, these guys are starting to kind of get that big split setup that we see a lot of times here at Motegi.
Well, I'm actually interested to see in how the damaged side pod of Eric Schaus is going to play out, because it seems like everyone's able to kind of get close to him and pass him, but it will equal out at some point. I feel like it's starting to equal out right now. I think he's fallen to, where is he now? He is in 12th place.
12th, yeah.
I don't think he's gonna fall much further from this. He may get passed by 1 more car before the pit stop, but everyone has that faster pair in hand, and I think that this is probably going to be the place to use it, because you don't want to stay out there and hope for some miracle that you'll save some fuel or something like that. You want to get the car fixed and try and get yourself back up those spots that you lost. So expect Eric to use his 1 faster pair this one. Looks like he's coming under fire again. I guess Durazo's gotten up to him now. So yeah, Eric is going to need to use this to make sure he gets back into this race somehow, get a caution, find a way to get some spots back from what he lost.
Yeah, and you mentioned pit stops. That's probably a little bit, I'd say not quite 10 more laps, but probably in about that window. Again, we talked about that maybe like 33 to 37 window. Just depends on how aggressive you're driving these things on the field maps and everything. If you have draft, probably stretch it a little bit more. And then, of course, we had a couple guys that did top off. Ooh, saw Peterson there of a moment there. The Teed, I think. No, it is Peterson. I forget he's a couple laps down, but 1 lap down, I think. I think he may have self-administered a penalty to himself. I'm not sure. But yeah, so he saw him have a big slide there. Let's see. The one that I've been watching lately, though, that seems to have some really good long-run pace, though, is Craig Forsyth. He's worked his way up now into the 6th position, slowly but surely gaining on Larry. And then a few guys that are also starting to creep in on one another is Hugo Galaz trying to close that gap on Wayne Campbell there in the 42. Looking through a little bit, the Schaus-Durazo battle continues on here. And again, right now the closest battle actually is this Larry Yingling, Craig Forsyth sitting at about that 0.3 of a second margin. What is definitely stretching right now is the Edson Santos lead. Actually, I'm wondering if Matt may have had an issue out of 4 that two the last time around, because I just saw that interval.
Yeah, I was trying to monitor the lap times there on the Forsyth Yingling battle there. But
oh yeah, Matt had something happen.
I think
that lap.
something happened with Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, because so Edson ran a 27.60 last lap, Matt at 28.38, so almost 0.8 of a second slower. And it was definitely something out of turn 2 because again, I just saw the timing scoring just go completely the wrong way. Stouffer got within a second of him, so yeah, so definitely had a bit of a hiccup there. But again, though, they're getting to that fuel window, and as I said, the Razo-Schaus battle continues on. But again, we're also, I mean, this we talked about it at the pre-race. It's a 3-stop race here, Andrew. Is this a track? Is this maybe a place where do you consider trying to do a little bit of a short pit, maybe try to jump a couple guys? So I'm looking at lap times, and they've dropped a couple tenths. I mean, it's nothing super drastic like seconds or anything, but is it worth maybe taking that gamble and maybe trying to make an early pit stop and either gain some time or maybe even try to jump somebody on the undercut?
Well, one thing you did mention to me in the pre-race when we were talking to other drivers is the car does get loose in turn 1 and 2, especially if you're keeping your foot in it. So the lap times will start to really tank after a while. If you feel like you have a little bit more pace in the car ahead of you, but you really can't make the move because of the dirty air, I think it's a lot better idea to try and undercut this race. If you can make it in 2 stops, 3 stops, or whatever you got to do to count backwards, if you can expect that there might be drama later in the race, you always want to try and undercut, especially if you feel like you can get out on a clear track, run faster lap times than you were running in the previous stint, and use that to your advantage so that hopefully the car ahead of you that you're trying to pass has a slower pit stop and you've made up enough time on your faster laps on the fresh tires to pick up a spot. So I think people are expecting, what is it, about 43, 46 laps we were looking at, right?
I think it was 33, I think, to 37 window. 33 7.
Looks like we're past that now. So I actually feel like with the way that these cars have spread out, there's been a little more fuel savings. So I think we're going to see the max lap around 44, 45. If people start coming in around now, let's keep an eye on that. I think they're going to try and undercut to pick up a couple spots here.
Yeah, saying I've been watching a couple battles here. There's a great one with Wayne Campbell, Frank Irwin Jr. As I say that, I think the aero wash we just saw hit the 44. And here's the new tires though. Brandon Briggs, he did pit recently on lap 27, so he's got about 10 laps on his tires. But that car looks like it's really working a lot better. Yes, and I think he's also just trying to be mindful of the other guys, knowing that they're going for the season championship and everything like that. And
we got cars coming in now.
Oh, yep.
Kyle,
Stockner's
looks
first
like
one
we got,
in.
I think Stouffer is also coming in. I believe.
Yep, Wagner's in.
Wagner, Campbell are all coming in. Yeah, so it looks like they're calling it. Oh, it's a very hard pit in. Jim Herrick, very close to that pit attenuator, but he makes his way in.
Yeah, a lot of close calls there. But yeah, this is a very busy pit road here. And once again, though, the fuel savings, I'm going to say, goes to Edson once more. He's able to stretch it very long, at least the extra lap here. We'll see if he comes in now. And yeah, so he's going to go ahead and jump in here. That's probably not a reaction. That's probably just when he needed a pit. So then we got to jump a handful seconds back to that 57 of Hugo Galaz. We always kind of like to joke about the fuel mileage that Hugo can get. And here you go. He's going to go once again further than anybody. As you see Schaus and Kelly, they're going to jump on in here. So once again, I think Hugo, one of the few, he's actually the only car staying out that did not top off under that yellow. We still have a few that did top off that have yet to pit, including Shane Coker, Joseph Morales and Bill Burrell, I think, are the remaining ones, other than Eric Peterson as well, who again is a lap down. But yeah, here comes Hugo as he's going to hit pit road here, coming to lap number 41. Now, there you go. So these are the guys now that have topped off. Yeah, Coker, Morales, Burrell, those are going to be the next ones that are going to be due to pit here in just a few laps.
I'm checking. I think Devin Brock might have had a pit penalty.
Yes, he definitely did. He had a really long stop.
Yeah, he had a
And
very,
Stockner
very long
as well.
stop there. If Stockner came in right before him, had a long stop. So unfortunate for those guys, and especially on such a super speedway type track like this, you lose so much time when cars are going 200 plus miles per hour. You're going to lose so much time there, but it's not over yet. We still have about 2/3 of this race left to go here. So hopefully something could change around for those two guys, but I'm sure they're kicking themselves saying, man, I really messed this one up. I was running really nicely in the top 10 or 12 or so, and next thing you know, now I'm sitting here trying to just fend everyone off out of my way that's a little bit faster than me.
Yeah, and so far, knock on wood, everybody's been minding their P's and Q's on the pit stop cycles. Like I said, so right now with Shane not pitting yet, you can see right in front of him, I believe, was Jeff Heisong. So what's happening at the moment is Wayne Campbell on back. These guys are still trapped one lap down. They would get the wave around, of course, once the caution comes out. But in doing so, that would actually prevent them from maybe making a scheduled pit stop as well. So there's still that little bit of stress for a handful of these guys thinking, okay, these guys still haven't pitted yet. And I'm kind of wanting to do some quick math here. I still don't see it possible. I'll wait till Shane comes in, but is there any way that maybe he could try cutting a pit stop out of this? Would be interesting to see. I think he's in this time, though.
Yeah, I think Gary's coming in, and also Bill's in. Gary's coming in as well.
This will be coming to 45.
Well, keep in mind that we had that early caution as well, that there were some laps run under yellow, so they would really need to get all the way to lap 60, and I just don't think that that's really plausible. But the later you go into a stint as well, if you get into the 50s, say like 50, 51, 52, you could split your last stop into a half and half strategy. So instead of taking a full tank, you take a little bit less, so you stay less time on pit road. That can get you some spots later on. You just got to hope there's no caution because you have less fuel than everyone. So those guys that stayed out could pull something off, but it's a really risky strategy.
I'm going to want to watch Shane in that 32 car. He just came back on track. And so basically he pitted, it was about 80 laps to go in this race. And so pretty much if he can go 41 laps on this tank, again, like you mentioned, there was a caution. He did top off on the one to go. But if he's able to maybe pull that off, though, that I think would cut the stop out of it. So we'll be definitely having to watch to see how far he goes. Like I said, to me, I think the magic number is going to be about lap 85, 86. If they can get to that before he pits, I'm thinking that could be his final scheduled pit stop. So that's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on for that side of the strategy. But yeah, everybody else, though, I think it's pretty much just there's going to be 2 more stops no matter what. You can see Matt's, again, fresher tires. Matt's definitely got some pace in that number 6 car. But I think Edson's got that long run pace in that 20. And, of course, also the benefit of clean air, which he's starting to approach some traffic in probably the next handful of laps here. So we'll see how he starts to navigate that dirty air in probably about, I would say, maybe 10 or so laps is my guess.
I'm actually watching Eric Schaus, who has gotten his car fixed, and he came extremely close to that turn 4 wall on the last lap. I actually thought he hit it again, but he did not hit that wall. He's lost so much time now. He's sitting in P9 right now. He picked up a couple spots during the pit stop rotation, but he's lost so much time to the leaders that are ahead of him. And if he keeps driving this car really, really wide, he's pulling the Ed Carpenter right now, just taking the super, super wide line through all the corners and trying to maximize the speed, but that gets you in trouble if you get very close to the wall. So Schaus has definitely lost some time now. He's not really in a battle right now. In fact, he's actually trying to hold on to the position from Daniel Durazo behind him, who's still coming through this field very, very quickly.
I feel like these two have been with each other pretty much the whole race, it seems like. And it's saying you're going to see, and I was going to say, if Daniel doesn't do that move to the bottom, I think you're going to see Schaus try to take that momentum and try to cut back underneath him. So, yeah, these guys are not giving up here. They're going to keep going after everything they can. And at the moment, again, Durazo's got a nose ahead, but you can see Eric is right there at his side pod. Almost tried to cut in there, just maybe had to readjust just a tiny bit there. And then I think I saw a couple little blinks there. I think that may be Ryan Kelly there in that number 33. And again, Ryan started from the pits here. That I say right now shows him that he lost 6 spots since the start. But when you really think about it, he started 22nd in the field in this race, starting from the pits. And he has worked his way back up into the 11th spot. So it's been a really good run so far for Ryan Kelly in that 33.
I found this battle kind of interesting with Durazo and Eric Schaus. Like, Schaus didn't just fold, and Durazo's kind of keeping a lot of defensive moves there. I think Schaus is trying to outsmart him a little bit, but did you see how Durazo just was able to hug that line in 3 and 4?
Yeah.
I've not seen many cars able to do that here, so I really wonder if in clean air he's got something figured out. Should something happen that he's able to get a couple more spots, that could be a little bit of a sneaky way to get by some guys.
Yeah, it seems like he's really able to hug the bottom. Like I said, we'll watch here through 3 and 4, see if we can get a better look at it. And yeah, I mean, look at it. He's right on that white line. And that's a risk versus reward line as well, I feel like, Andrew, because as soon as we talk about these cars, they do not like to have that banking adjustment. But it's going to change now because we have a caution. And I think it's going to be that 124 Nicholas Stockner. Yellow is out. Yep, there, so you can see the damage to that right front tire. So that car is going to need, hopefully still has a fast repair in availability. And then I'm looking at my timing and scoring, see who's going to be our beneficiary. And it looks like it's going to be the 21 here of Bill Burrell, if I'm not mistaken. I'm showing him as the first car one down. But let's go back. Let's try to catch what happened here to Nicholas. So we'll go ahead and down.
I think it's the bump in between turn 1 and 2 pushed him down over that white line. There's a huge bump. We haven't really talked about it too much, but there's
That's
a
true,
bump
you're right.
right in the middle of 1 exiting 2, and I think it might have sent him down onto the white line.
Yeah, as soon as he hit the bump, it kind of pushed him down below, and then there was that. We literally just talked about that banking transition, and you can see Jim Herrick there just able to sneak by. And you can see right here, he almost has it saved, but it just keeps sliding, unfortunately, and that's going to put him into that outside wall. So, unfortunately for him, like I said, I believe he has made his way back to pit road in the 124. However, I'm not seeing anybody in the car, so that might be night over for Nicholas. We'll have to wait and see. But now here you go, strategy time. Do you pit? Do you not? Late decision by Matt Wagner there. And so far, we're going to have, it looks like the field all coming in. A few guys staying out to get those wave rounds like we talked about. Bill Burrell, yep, there he goes right now. He's going to go on by the field. I believe we're waiting for, yep, there he goes. And so, yeah, so then you have these other guys that had the pit road penalties as well. So Brandon Briggs was off schedule on his pit stop, so he's going to stay out as well. Then you got Peterson, Devin Brock, Joseph Morales, Gary Laverne, all these guys going to stay out here to get that wave and get back on the lead lap. Then let's jump back over to the front here. Remember that guy I talked about that I thought maybe could cut a pit stop out of this race here, Andrew?
Yes, I do.
Look who didn't pit.
This is actually very interesting because this is definitely a track position kind of race. As we saw, we didn't see a lot of the side-by-side kind of passing and everything like that. So this is the time of the race where you take risks. This is your opportunity where you say, okay, everyone's coming in. There's a caution. We don't get many cautions in this race unless something really big happens. So this is really the time for people to take a little bit more risk and see if their strategy will play out. Because if we get another caution in, say, 15, 20 laps or so, this really could play out in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, I like this gamble. Like I said, I thought he was close to being able to make it before the caution. And now with him staying out, of course, with the caution coming out, that I think does put him in a really good window here to make it. And so what you're going to see here is the field's going to get the one to go, and the drivers that were on the tail end, they're going to come right on by, and then Shane's going to be our control car. So we'll probably see the same thing here, as I'm sure you can see the gap that's being built up. I'll say Shane's going to want to back it down off the pace car and get back to Edson. So right now Edson's there he goes. As I say, he's going to have to roll back out of it there, as he is the control car. And then, so then he's going to have control of this race. And so with those wave rounds as well, that's going to put, I think we're going to get back to, 17 on the lead lap. Eric Peterson will get his lap back. And then if I'm not mistaken, I think Devin Brock is going to still be one down, or is he actually hustling around still? I think he might still be catching back up. So
he's still catching up, yeah.
I'll let my timing and scoring update before I call it. Yeah, actually, no. So the 27... as well as the 39, the 50, 39, 60, and the 34 still are one down. And I do not see the 124, so I think that might be, unfortunately, night over for Nicholas Stockner. So here we go, though. Back to it here, and Edson's going to have dirty air for the first time tonight. So we'll see what Shane can do on this restart and try to keep that track position.
Yeah, Shane's got 80 laps to finish this race, so he has to do 40 and 40, and that's going to be difficult, but the caution helps a little bit. I think this is a great strategy. He gets clean air, no dirty air of any cars ahead of him to really mess with it. I think this could possibly be a good strategy to try and mix things up a little bit.
Stouffer was ready to go on that restart. He was right on the side pod, Matt Wagner there. Matt's going to hang on to the spot. Let's go towards the front, though. We'll see what Edson can do. He's going to dive it into 3. He's going to try to hold the bottom. You can see he throttles out really well there, which I got to say, with the cold tires still, that is a very impressive move by that 20 car. And so he's going to net the top spot of this race. And this may not be that bad of a situation for Shane, because now he's going to say, hey, all right, now I got the draft. I can save off of the 20 car, and I've still net gained a ton of spots. Ooh, as I think Craig just flirted with the outside wall. I think that's going to be no harm, no foul one. But definitely, I'm sure, caught the attention of Jim Herrick looking underneath him here in 3.
Well, we never see Craig really go for it like we did there. So that's definitely showing that Craig is not really hiding anything right now. I think Shane has definitely netted, like you said, a great track position situation here. So if he's able to save a little bit of fuel, then I think he can pull this off and get himself a much better finish than what he was expecting.
Yeah, so I think the only downside is, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this should put everybody in the one stop to the end strategy. And I think that's where maybe Shane would have thought, hey man, if everybody pits, then I'll be in a really good spot where maybe I can actually jump the entire field. But right now, like I said, he's honestly in a really great spot too, because Stouffer and Wagner, they are going at it tooth and nail here. Let's hop on to that number 6 of Matt Wagner as they head into turn number 3. As you can see, kind of similar entries there. Matt gets the aero wash, has to readjust, and then is able to get the power down out of 4. And then there's that snake we always talk about down the straightaway.
I think Matt has definitely got some vengeance in him. He wants to pick up these spots, and this is all for the championship. So I think Matt's going to do everything he can. He's found those weird kind of outside lines to make himself a little more relevant to try and get these spots. So it's going to be exciting to see what Matt can pull off here.
Yeah, saying some really close battles as well. Say everybody's trying to take advantage of those fresh tires. Daniel Durazo's up into the top 10 in 9th. He's trying to work over Wayne Campbell here. And say right now, these are the 2 of the higher climbers. Wayne Campbell up 7, Durazo up 12. And of course, Shane Coker with the strategy. A great call by him. He's also sitting at plus 12 on his position. But he's about to have company, and that's Stouffer. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's Wagner and Stouffer. Once again, I apologize. Going right back at it. And now it's going to be Matt grabbing that 3rd spot back from Stouffer as we just crossed the halfway point here. 62 to go. And we're going to jump back to that Durazo-Campbell battle, because let's add a Ryan Kelly to the mix here as well.
Yeah, that move on Wagner that he did on Stouffer, that had to do with that bump in turn 1. I think he really kind of sent his car down the inside and maybe caught Stouffer a little bit by surprise as he really raced down that white line. And on the back straight, he had a lot of draft coming up on Stouffer. He took that spot. And we were mentioning how Durazo could hug that white line on the bottom, but Wagner held it actually better than anyone I've seen. So he had a lot of speed just running that bottom line there through 3 and 4.
You also got Jim Herrick now. He's under attack from Jeff Heisong. As you can see, Jeff there entered a little lower there in 3. He was actually able to even hold it a little tighter. Ooh, I think he got big loose there out of 4. They're able to catch it. But that just shows, again, these guys, again, they have a lot of adjustments in these cars. Of course, Andrew, you've got the front and rear ARBs. You've got the weight jacker. So there's times where you might be making an adjustment. Oh, look in the back there.
Ryan Kelly had a big moment through 1 and 2 over that bump, but he saved it. And he lost a couple spots in the process, but he kept the car straight. So that was an insane save by Ryan Kelly there.
Yeah, so I feel like I'm going to go back and go a little further back because you catch it just as he's starting to make the save. So let's go back so you can see it already happen there. And yeah, you're exactly right. So once again, it's that bump through 1 and 2. And so you're going to see it right here. You'll see the car start to unsettle. There's the bump. And you're right. As soon as he hits the bump, it takes him off the banking. And that car, you can see, unfortunately, the angle's not perfect. You can see that wheel is cranked to the right. And just same thing, able to point it straight just at the right time there. And somehow hangs on to that thing. Unfortunately, loses a couple spots in the process. But he's still got a race car to contend with the race to the end of this race here. So great hands there by Ryan.
Yeah, we got the leaders kind of starting to stretch out a little bit. They're doing that whole 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second gap there. But, I mean, you see guys like Jim Herrick, who's still right in this mix here. He's going for that position on Craig Forsyth, going into turn 1.
Yeah, Herrick's been really strong so far in this one. Like I said, have been qualified 4th, still just right outside the top 5 and 6. So it's been kind of hanging around that top 5 this whole time. And this is really the kind of the closest train, I guess you could call it, where you've got Forsyth there, 4/10 over Herrick, 4/10 over Heisong. You got Durazo right there on the back, Campbell right on the back of Durazo. Or, no, I had it right the first time. Durazo on the back of Heisong, and then Campbell's right there. And then you got Schaus and Yingling, Kelly. I mean, really, honestly, 5th through 16th are pretty much on top of each other. Oh, I saw the slide there coming out of 2. Peterson catches the wall, though, unfortunately. That's going to definitely be, I think you're going to see that crumple on the side pod there, I'm guessing this time, Andrew.
Yeah,
yep,
I'm
I saw
now.
it.
Yeah, I saw it as well.
So, yeah, so he's going to be in the same situation as Eric Schaus was. Again, though, somehow able to hang on to, obviously caught the wall a little bit, but, again, still pointing in the right direction, so that's going to be big for him. And now, I have it right this time, Shane Coker's got attention. That's going to be for Matt Wagner, who, once again, I was watching at 3 and 4, just hugging that white line.
We have to actually keep close attention to when Shane Coker is going to take his pit stop. If he can get all the way to lap 83 or 84, I think he might be okay to make it to the end. But it's going to be very, very close just based on when he pitted on lap 45.
And yeah, he may not be running the full fuel map as well. He might be backing it down a little bit and just trying to, and because like we said, I mean, his fuel saving and that previous run is put him in this position to take that gamble of staying out. And right now, still netting 3rd in the position here on track I think is still, again, a really, really good call by him. So I think if he's maybe able to run, let's say, a fuel map 3, something like that, where he doesn't lose a ton of pace, but he still saves a good chunk of fuel. I mean, we've even seen drivers that will change their fuel map from turn to turn, so you never know with some of these guys how sneaky they are. But Durazo, though, he's found his way to Herrick now. So, again, we talked about Daniel Durazo. Just he can work through the field so well. You can see running that top side there. I think just had to roll out of it a little bit. I feel like they're out of 2 to avoid the contact with the outside wall. And then someone we haven't given much love to tonight is Charles Teed. He's trying to work over Frank Irwin Jr. there in that 44, looking into 3. About a half a groove off the bottom, but looks like we'll still hold pretty good momentum off the exit.
You really can't count out these guys that are trying to do anything to save a little bit of fuel, but still attack the car ahead of them. And I think that if you're looking at someone like Daniel Durazo, he is definitely on pace to continue the trend here. He's saving the fuel. He's kind of hanging out in this top 10 here, but he's also trying to attack when he can. And you were mentioning the fuel maps on both sides of the track. I feel like someone like Daniel Durazo's maybe taking advantage of something like that too, and saying, okay, I can attack on the full speed side of the track, but on the side of the track where I have to lift and coast a little bit, I think maybe go into a lower fuel map to try and help the car rotate also while trying to attack the car ahead. So I think that might be what Daniel Durazo's thinking here.
Yeah, he almost got there on Herrick through 3 and 4. And I think Herrick was able to snag some draft off of Forsyth out of 4. And I'm saying that's kind of pulling him back through and away from him. So, and while that's gone on, Shane Coker is starting to fall into the clutches of Chris Stouffer. But like I said, I think right now Coker's thinking long-term win here. He's not worried about the short win. He needs the long win, which is to just keep stretching the fuel in that number 32 car. If Stouffer gets by it, that's fine. Just bump the fuel map down, steal some more draft on him. You can see he's not fighting at all through the turn. And I'm saying we'll probably here. Let's hop on board. I'm saying I want to listen into this number 32 here. Next time around, actually, I think will be the better time to listen into turn 3. So I want to see, is that car just completely rolling out? And you can see we don't get to see all the magic buttons, Andrew, and I hate that we don't get to see it because he's not running. I can tell you right now, he's probably not running map 1. But yeah, so we'll listen here into 3 and see what we're hearing from it.
Doesn't seem too strong of a fuel save, but I think at this point, if he just kind of holds on to where he's running till lap 85, 86, I think he could be good to the end. And he even might be trying to predict that there might be one more caution before the end here, where he could save some more fuel to make it on just that one more stop. So
yeah,
if we're on lap 80 right now, I think if he makes it to lap 85, I think he might feel confident that he can make it to the end.
Yeah, I think 40 to go is the same thing. I think that's kind of about my magic number that I'd like to see him get to. Ideally, I'd love to see him get a little closer than that, even like maybe closer to like 37, 38, if at all possible. I thought he could do 40 to go, honestly, without the caution. Oh, big moment there by the 40. That's going to be the opening Durazo needed. He's going to take a look here through 3. He's going to probably dive it in there. He's already got him cleared. I think Herrick said, yeah, I'm not even going to bother fighting that one. So move Durazo now up into 6th place. That's now plus 15 for that number 2 car.
This is such a clinic for Edson Santos. Every time we see him qualify in that 2nd or 3rd spot, he manages to find a way to get himself up to the front spot. And this is something that we gotta address with them, saying like, hey, whenever you qualify just outside pole, you manage to find a way to get up there and win this race. So I think that he's just on this 3 stopper, basically, that everyone else is on. So I think that Edson has managed to find a way to the front, and we're going to continue to see him dominate this run here because no one has been able to touch him all race long.
Yeah, I know. We saw in the short run, Matt was definitely holding him honest. But yeah, once the tire started to wear, he's able to keep the pace in that car. I'm looking at the best lap times, and last time by Matt was about 0.02 of a second quicker than him. That said, though, Matt's also got a nice margin over Stouffer now. It's about 2.3 seconds from the 6 to the 13 car. So he's definitely got some breathing room as well. Right now, this is the closest battle, which again, I mean, it just to me shows the pace of that 2 car, because I was talking really about how good Craig was on the long runs, was making moves, making gains, and now all of a sudden he's got that 2 that's been chasing him down. As Gary Laverne just hit pit road in the 34. Watching Ryan Kelly here, he is working over Wayne Campbell again. He's trying to get some spots back after that huge slide he had earlier, and I think he might be able to complete this pass entering 3. I feel like. So yeah, so we'll have to keep an eye on those guys. But right now, like I said, just really good pace from these guys. And here comes Coker. Oh, it's right at 40 to go here. I would have loved to see an extra lap or 2, but it's going to be close, but I think it is doable. It's just now, is he going to have to save too much to try to hold on to a top 5 spot?
I think that at this point, you got to hope for one more caution. Someone to kind of make a mistake somewhere that he could save a little bit more fuel, put himself in a spot where he may be able to do 40 laps just on a little bit extra fuel save. I'm watching Daniel Durazo right now. He's going forward for Craig Forsyth for
there's the contact.
P4.
Oh, I don't know how they hung
It's
on to those, and we'll
it's
go
little
back.
things like that, Gail. It's little things like that that could give you the caution that Shane Coker needs to get himself back into this
Well,
race
he
again.
doesn't want it yet, though, because he's actually trapped a lap down right now. And so you can see Craig on entry here on the outside, and then Daniel there. I think Craig, same. We've seen this time and time again, I feel like, this season, where the outside car is expecting the inside car to kind of go to turn in sooner than they do. And so again, I'm not the most familiar with the way the races are with these cars, but is it maybe where the inside car does maybe delay his entry a little bit to try to force that outside car to give, or is it just maybe that this is a turn that you can also late apex? So I mean, I'm not trying to like kind of bring up or cause any drama or controversy, but I mean, how do you see this? So we have the same situation here. You see the 42 there entered a lot earlier than I feel like the 2 did. Is that just a strategy to try to get that late apex in, or I mean, how do you approach that if you're the outside, the inside car with the car to your outside?
Well, this is definitely one of those tracks where it's very, very hard to get that actual run on the inside to do it. So I think you have to really sneak your way down there to find clean air in general. And if you find the clean air that's on the tightest line, you're going to make that pass happen. I think that was a very risky move in general, but it's not something that was very, very dangerous at the same time. So I think that when it comes to a track like this where there's not very many opportunities to get on the inside, I think that that's a very, very smart thing to do, to try and put yourself in a spot where you can actually get on the inside.
I like this right here. I like Matt taking a gamble. They can go another probably at least 5 laps on fuel, but Matt said, you know what? I'm going to throw the dice here. I'm going to try to come in early. It puts him at risk, like we talked about with the cautions, because he will go a lap down. But if he can get those good in and out laps, and maybe, like I said, try to get some good movement there, that could get him something. Now it's just going to depend on traffic as well.
Oh!
Oh,
Craig Forsyth tried to do the same thing, and he almost clipped the inside wall on the pit lane, Gael. I don't know if you caught that, but
yeah,
that was
no, I did not. Let's
that was
go back.
very, very, very close on his pit in. I think he tried to sneak his way in there and managed to just get in, but it was very, very close.
Yeah, let's take a look at it here. As I say, if it gets you that excited, that's definitely one that we got to take a look at here. As, yeah, you can see that's pointing straight to the inside wall here. Just releases the brake in time. Oh my goodness, that's as close as you want to be there. And I'm sure that car behind him is thinking, please don't do anything that's going to hurt me too. So yeah, so Craig was able to get in. It looks like it was a clean pit stop without penalty. Say clean pit stop. He's probably sweating a little bit there and there. But yeah, so now this is where it's all about to happen here, because Edson is also, and he's just rolling out now. Where's Matt Wagner? He is hustling it there. But the problem is, though, he's got the dirty air. This is not what he want to see. Actually, no, is that Edson right there that he just got? He did. Look at Matt. Matt taking the point.
Yes.
I think Edson had a mistake in his pit stop. I'm showing a 10-second pit stop for that 20 car. We got to go back and take a look. So let me go find Edson's entry.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing too: is that if you have a bunch of cars
He had to back up.
Early pit stops, if you do the early pit stop, you're forcing everybody to break their strategy and break their momentum and do something a little bit different than what they were expecting. So I'm sure that Edson was like, oh, I have to pit right now because Matt's going to jump me if I don't do something very, very soon. And if you do that, then you're kind of throwing yourself all out of sorts of how you're trying to maintain the race and whatever strategy you're on. So once one car pits, it kind of brings everybody else into the pits with you. And if you're not ready for it, then it could possibly throw you off a little bit.
Yeah, so we went back and looked, and sure enough, I saw the 20 have to basically throw it in reverse just a little bit to hit the stall, and so that was the difference. I mentioned that 2-second difference, and so Matt in his pit lane. Actually, I'm gonna do total pit stop time or pit lane time. Matt Wagner was 40.75 seconds. Edson Santos 44.95. So it was a 4-second swing between the two of them for total pit lane time. But I gotta give a big shout out though, Jim Herrick. Everybody else I'm talking about 40 seconds. Jim Herrick 38.73 time on pit road. He nailed the entry and the exit, did everything right, and that's got him right on the rear wing of Craig Forsyth there, just outside the top 5. So great pit stop cycle for that 40 car.
And let's see where Shane Coker winds up with all this too. So he pitted the earliest out of everyone. Now he has to do 40 laps. So where is he going to find himself in this mix? Is he going to try and push it and hope for a very, very late race caution where he puts himself in a spot to make it? Or is he going to have to really tamp down his speed for the last 15, 20 laps or so and find himself in a spot where he's giving up spots? But
There's going to be the caution.
Oh, what do we got?
Schaus and Campbell together out of 4. I think it may have been Schaus that just got loose there and couldn't hang on to it. We'll go back, of course. We'll take a look, but unfortunately, Wayne Campbell had to take a tow there, and it looks like Schaus is gonna try to limp this thing back to pit road, but that is gonna be caution out. So let's go back here. We'll watch this fight between.
That was a feisty one there.
Yeah, no, it would say we'll go back here. So this is down the backstretch heading into turn 3. You can see them fighting side by side. You got Schaus on the inside, clears him. You see Campbell there trying to maybe kind of cut under, but yeah, I mean, you can see it actually there, just really pushes, and then kind of that push loose, and then he tries to catch it, and then unfortunately for Wayne Campbell, just he goes where he has the opportunity, and now's the outside, but that gap closed way too soon for him. And then that sends that 42 around, and saying that, of course, that's where the caution there comes out. So now my other question on this whole situation is, look how close Larry Yingling was to just sneak around that 42 car. You almost wonder, could somebody have actually saved fuel and gone far and trapped the field a lap down, if not for everybody reacting to Matt Wagner's pit stop? So that, just to add, I mean, it's happened and done now, but you almost kind of wonder on that one. But I think the big beneficiary of this, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be Eric Peterson, because he had not pitted in that whole cycle. He had been stretching his fuel, and that's now going to allow him to come into pit road and basically pit with the leaders with that strategy there. So great job by him. And then I think, Bill Burrell able to grab the wave round, so that's going to put him back on the lead lap in that 21 car. Unfortunately, that's going to still continue to trap Devin Brock, Joseph Morales, Gary Laverne there down a lap. And then, of course, we saw the tow for Wayne Campbell. So say that's why he sits in pit road. So now that's the caution that Coker was looking for. That probably puts him pretty safe on fuel. But now we've got the field all bunched up together here for a late restart, and we know how crazy that thing likes to get.
I actually kind of figured that this might be a good opportunity for Shane Coker to come in and put fresh tires on. Yes, track condition is kind of the main thing here, but if you're the one on the oldest tires with everyone around you that's trying to go for it, you may drop 3 or 4 spots on the restart. So let's keep an eye on Shane Coker on the restart. He's trying to hold on to it, and he has less tires than everyone else around him. He did this whole strategy to try and pick up a bunch of spots. It might work out that he could hold on to it, but if you're at this point in the race where you have 20 laps or so until the end of the race, I think you want to have the freshest tires possible. And if everyone else around you is not going to pit, it may be worth it to do it. I would do it, especially if someone around me is not in the championship fight. I will want to see what kind of track position I could pick up with the fresh tires. So this would be a time to kind of play around and see what the best strategy is for the amount of laps we have left.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the pit stop laps, and so it's about a 9-lap window. So like you mentioned, Shane Coker, he's got the oldest tires. He pitted on lap 85. The freshest tires is going to be Ryan Kelly in 8th, who pitted on lap 94. Matt Wagner was lap 90, 92 for Stouffer and Santos, 93 for Durazo, 91 for Forsyth, 93 for Herrick. So pretty much other than Coker, everybody's within just a couple laps of one another. It's just, is it a tire wear thing? Is it a tire temperature thing? So like if it's a temperature thing, Coker's probably still in a really, really good spot. For me, the question mark is, can he go full rich from here to the end? So We're about to find out, though. It's going to hand it over to that 6-car Matt Wagner. He's now the first time controlling this restart here. He has been trying so hard to get around Edson. So now Edson's going to have to try to figure out how to fight that dirty air here. So we're going to restart this thing with 24 to go.
We never really see Edson go for the big pass at the end. We always see him kind of sneak his way towards the front and then hold off everyone that's behind him. So I'm excited to see how Edson reacts in this situation. And if he's able to find his way by, then we can absolutely call him someone to look for in any situation here. So Matt Wagner got the good restart here, and Edson is catching up, but not quite enough there. And we're used to seeing Edson kind of run this field. Now Edson's kind of scramble a little bit to see how he can get his way by Matt Wagner.
Yeah, so right now things holding pretty steady. Again, Durazo, a great restart. He is right on that rear wing of Shane Coker. Craig Forsyth, again, he's kind of got that, I would say, new lease on life, but man, I'm sure happy to have that pit stop cycle done with that. But yeah, now it's a late restart. This is the freshest the tires are, so everybody's trying to get everything they can right now. As you see, look at Hugo there. He's going to grab a couple spots there through 3 and 4. Great set of turns for him. Jumps all the way up into 9th there. I think that's 3 spots in 1 lap for Hugo actually there.
Yes, that was a good run.
So really good job by Hugo. Now he's got to try to hold those guys off. Oh, I saw that push coming out that 50 car, but I think
Forsyth also might have caught the wall very, very hard in turn. Yeah.
He's struggling.
Craig Forsyth's got a crimpled floor there. He was trying to follow Durazo through 1 and 2 last lap, and unfortunately he caught the wall pretty hard. So I imagine Forsyth's not going to have the speed he wants.
Yeah, the cars probably start to get very, very tight. This is just a gaggle is the best way I can describe it here. You see there, you've got Charles Teagan try to see can he get around Jim Herrick here on the exit. No, can't quite do it. He's got Yingling right there. He's got Peterson right there. And here goes Peterson. He's going to peek the inside 3 wide there on the entry. And they're going to hang on to it. Then Teed's going to get a face full of dirty air off of that 67. And that's exactly, unfortunately, what happens there. And I think the 40 car also had an issue right in front of them there of Jim Herrick, because that car looks way off the pace here. I think there's some pretty heavy damage to his car.
Yeah, I think we're watching Shane Coker as well, and he is not able to keep up with the 3 cars ahead of him. Duraz is coming to the inside right now. You don't want to lose all the track position you have, but at the same time, you're saying, okay, I pitted a lot more before the cars ahead of me, and I'm just going to start to drop spots. I'd rather be the attacking car, especially if you're not in the championship or trying to run for points or anything like that. So it's nice for Shane Coker to try and say, hey, I want my first top 5 of the season, but I feel like I want to run with how I feel like I have the freshest tires possible. And him staying out now has really kind of hurt his chances, and now he's going to spend the next 30 or so laps looking in the rearview mirror rather than trying to find his way forward.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in, and again, it depends on the track. I feel like too. I mean, we've talked about how notoriously tough this track is to pass at, so that might be one of those ones where it's like, okay, if it's at a really high abrasive track where the lap times fall by, let's say, a second or 2 over the course of the run, that might be where the tires really want to come into play. And you do want to pit with those freshest tires, where maybe he's thinking, you know what, the aero is going to be the bigger factor at the end of this race. So I think it's safe for me to have what I have now. But like you said, though, he's going to have to be fighting hard to try to keep that top 5. He's protecting the inside line, but he's going to now get all that dirty wash off of the back of the 2. And I think Ryan Kelly may have played it to perfection there. Ran the outside, cuts underneath to the inside, gets a good exit off of 2. He's going to take a look here in 3.
Yeah, I again, if I was going for a championship or I really wanted points, I would do the strategy that Coker is doing. But I would much rather try and play around with fresh tires. So I could see both sides of it. I think Coker wanted to just get a good finish, and he's had a lot of bad finishes this season. And I think he just wants to say, hey, I can get myself a nice top 7. But I feel like with the way that things go, you can get yourself a top 7 just by pitting, even if you drop to like 12th, 13th or so. It's much more fun to come through the field and try and maintain. And if you can't get yourself these good finishes for the season, it's much difficult to do that.
Say Hugo's continuing his charge. Obviously, we know Craig is kind of fighting wounded right now in that 99 car with his right side damage. But, I mean, Hugo's had a really good restart. We talked about getting 3 in that one lap there. Now he's worked his way up into that 8th spot. Jeff Heisung ahead of him. And so you can see Coker still has been able to hold on for the moment to Ryan Kelly. Ryan's on the inside, but now Shane's got the draft here through the front stretch, entering 1. We'll see if Ryan can do anything with it. But again, now Ryan's going to have that dirty air through 1 and 2. But he might be able to clear you up. He's going to slide up there before he gets to exit 2. Now he's going to steal the draft off that 2 car. And they're going to switch positions here, entering 3.
Yeah, we see the top 3 right now are outside the leading of the championships. Forsyth is leading this championship right now, and looks like Forsyth will drop a little bit, and perhaps Santos might take the lead, but Wagner and Stouffer are definitely going to close on that lead. So we'll have a nice 4-car battle going through this championship here, and we like to see that, especially with someone that we may have seen doing some sort of fuel save to get himself some race win here, but that was not on the tickets tonight.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Could have been some fuel strategy in all of that, but right now, like I said, it's just out for the fight to the end here, and it's just going to be who can kind of manage the air the best. If Matt's able to kind of keep Edson in some dirty air there in the 20. Right now, Edson's still pretty much running that bottom through 3 and 4 like we talked about. But I got to say, all 3 of these guys have been able to stay pretty close to one another. It's sitting right about that 7/10 of a mark between each of these guys as we just crossed the 10 to go mark here. And then a little further back, Durazo's about 1.75 off of Stouffer. But again, though, he started in 21st position, second to last in the top 5. Really, really good run here. Just got to get through about 9 more now at the line. Good fight here. Ryan Kelly has not been able to shake off Shane Coker. He's also still actually holding Daniel Durazo very honest here. And again, talk about the drive from this guy. He started from the pits as well. So right now he started 5th, is running 5th, but it doesn't show the whole story for Ryan Kelly. So again, great run for him so far tonight. And then Hugo Glaz, he's not done. He wants to get that top 7 spot from Heisung. And then we got that fight for the top 10 right here. You got Forsyth, you got Irwin Jr., you got Peterson, you got Yingling. All these guys trying to vie for that final spot in the top 10.
Well, Peterson was close to a lap down last time we checked, so that caution period really helped him get back on the lead lap. And look at him now. He's kind of fighting for a top 10, which we didn't really expect happening. So good bounce back from Peterson there. Coker, actually, the last couple laps looked like everything kind of equalized a little bit. Everyone that came in for the fresh tires wasted their tires a little bit, and then Coker found himself running within a certain pace of the cars ahead of him. He's starting to draw back a little bit, but he was starting to lose a little more, and now he's kind of maintained. And Heisung has not really caught back up to him again to challenge him. So perhaps this move for Coker really wasn't so bad, because he was running around like 13, 14 before that.
Yeah, no, I think this is still going to be a net positive for sure for Shane. Again, he's up 8 spots from where he qualified as well. So it's one of those things where sometimes maybe, again, strategy being stay out and catch a caution at the right time. But, man, look at Hugo here. He's got a good push on the outside. He's going to jump to the top here, see if he can roll the top side through 3 and 4, maybe keep the momentum on. But look at the 18, though. Throttles down so there.
I think Hugo got a little bit of a sniff of some wind or something like that kind of pushed his car up a little bit high, but he's right there. And Heisung is definitely trying his best to just run the middle of the track, but I think Hugo's got something for him here. He goes to the inside. I think the entry to turn 3 is better.
Oh, man. Jeff kept him honest there, tried to fight him as low as he could. But, yeah, Hugo's able to grab that spot, so move Hugo now up into 7th. And then look at this battle here. This, again, 4th and 5th here. Again, I can't understate how impressed I am with Ryan Kelly in this race tonight. You see Durazo, he's going to play defense there as well in the 2 car. So again, there's still, I mean, a top 5 is a really good result. This is where you got to be careful not to get too greedy trying to get 4th instead of 5th here. So you got to play this smart to the end game, in my opinion. Here, don't get too greedy trying to block and kind of give the dirty air and stuff. So up front, it's still holding about 7/10 from Matt Wagner to Edson. And Stouffer's unfortunately dropped off about a second now, off to about 1.7. Similar gap to Durazo here, as we're going to be down to 2 to go next time by. Right now, this is the closest battle on track at the moment. This cluster still continues on, though. You got Irwin Jr. there, Forsyth, Yingling, Peterson, all still battling for, again, trying to get into that top 5 position here. So, but yeah, 2 to go here. Matt Wagner looking back there. He's probably feeling pretty comfortable there. And it could be one of those what if situations on the pit stop. Was, if not for the mistake from Edson, would Matt still have maybe cleared him? Because like I said, it looked like a really good pit stop for Matt. But here you go, last lap here at Motegi.
I'm still trying to figure out what went wrong exactly on Edson's pit stop. He had a 4-second longer. Was it an entry, an exit?
No, he just overshot a stall, had to reverse back. And so, yeah, so that cost him that extra.
All it takes. That's all it takes.
Just a little
Sometimes,
bobble.
Yep, a little bit of a bobble, and now we got Matt up here in the lead.
Yep, Matt Wagner going to win here at Motegi over Edson Santos. Chris Stouffer going to bring home that podium tonight. And looking at the battle for the 4th spot, it looks like it was Daniel Durazo able to hold off Ryan Kelly. And then at the end as well, it went back and forth, but I believe it wound up being time. Yeah, I think Frank Irwin Jr. actually was able to hold on to that top 10 for that battle. So yeah, so a really good run for those guys. Matt getting the win here tonight. And so while we watch him celebrate, though, let's go ahead and get those final results here tonight, Andrew, as it will be Matt Wagner over Edson Santos there. Chris Stouffer, Daniel Durazo, Ryan Kelly are top 5. You got Shane Coker, Hugo Galaz, Jeff Heisong, Craig Forsyth still able to hold on to that top 10 and 9th there with the damage. Then Frank Irwin Jr. in 10th. Larry Yingling 11th. Eric Peters again stayed out, able to get that lap back, brings it home in 12th. Charles Teed, Bill Burrell, our final lead lap finishers. And then unfortunately, a handful trapped a lap down or more tonight, including Gary Laverne, Devin Brock, Joseph Morales, and Jim Herrick. And then continuing down, the tough nights continued there as well for Wayne Campbell. And then early nights for Eric Schaus, Brandon Briggs, and Nicholas Stockner. And you can see it, I believe, teammate to Matt Wagner celebrating along there with him. Maybe it was the win/highest climbers combo celebration here tonight.
That's something for sure. But what I like to see is a championship staying very, very close, right? So Forsyth seemed to be kind of running away with it a little bit with Edson in tow, but Wagner and Stouffer have put themselves right back into this championship again with these podium finishes, and that's something we're definitely going to talk to them about when we get in here. But yeah, unfortunately for Chris Chabot, he didn't show up tonight, so he might have lost his spot a little bit. But listen, if we have a 3 or 4 driver championship continuing for the next 5 races here, I think we got a good thing going.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And I can tell you the gap from 1st to 4th is now only 28 points from Edson.
That's nothing.
Edson, Craig, Stouffer, and Wagner. Yeah, that is a very, very small window to be working with. So, but the first person we had to talk to, though, tonight, Andrew, he doesn't like to talk about points. He's just going after these things race for race. So we're going to kick it off with that number 13 car with 40 Raceware. That is going to be Chris Stouffer getting the 3rd tonight, started in 6th. And was it just the clean air for you tonight that just couldn't quite get there to maybe try to control this race, Stouffer? Was that all you were looking for tonight?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, right. The proof is in the race right there. Whoever was up front, couldn't get past them, and then yeah, we'd get aero lock pretty quick, where you couldn't really pass anybody because the guy in front of him's got the draft, and the guy in front of that, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I made up those spots early from 6th up to 3rd, and I just sat there the whole night. Nothing I could have done. Matt had me covered. Um, you know, so did Santos, and yeah, that's just the way it goes sometimes. But third place isn't bad.
How important was pit strategy tonight? Did you feel like you could do like a undercut somewhere, or maybe it was too risky to pit too early or anything like that? Was there much in the way of a window of a pit stop tonight?
Well, yeah, you saw it with Wags how he inherited the lead there. It was he did the undercut. Um, I played it safe and stayed out just in case, rather not be a lap down or anything. But regardless, yeah, I think that the undercut, I was thinking about going in as soon as I heard Matt was going in, but I just made the decision to stay out and run it out.
And then for your pit stop, did you run as far as you could go, or did you even have a little bit extra that you could have gone if not for Edson pitting?
I mean, I probably could have stretched it one more lap, but at that point, we're all good to go to the end, and he said he was pitting, so I decided I'd go in right there, and again, I mean, it worked out. I maintained position. I didn't go backwards. I went forward. I just hit a plateau in third place, and just couldn't do anything for either one of those guys.
All right. Well, I know we're not allowed to ask you about points, so we're gonna go to what you got to do last weekend. So how did you enjoy the Sim Gaming Expo over there? I got to see you do some of the races there. Yeah, so you had to suffer with Matt broadcasting them as well. I was saying take us maybe like a kind of a short overview. I mean, of how you enjoyed it over there.
Oh, that was a lot of fun. It was a good experience. I took my boys, so they got to play on a lot of big rigs there. They had set up a lot of the motion rigs and whatnot. It was certainly cool being able to get up and represent 40 Raceware and just be on the big screen. There was only a handful of us guys that were up there, so it was really neat to be a part of that too. Got to meet Tony Kanaan, which was awesome in person instead of on iRacing. But got a picture taken with him with the kids. They got his autograph, so that was really cool. I mean, overall, it was a great experience.
No, that's really cool. And yeah, Andrew had mentioned as well that that knowing or hearing that Kanan was there, and yeah, so it was really fun. Like I said, to kind of see and hear, and I say the one that I was watching on the stream was great. Just seeing everybody pretty much shoulder to shoulder in all of their sim rigs. So I'm sure that was also the other part of a different experience where you can get mad at somebody and can look over and kind of give them a death look, if you will, for whatever may have been there. But yeah, no, it was so cool to see, and I'm glad you're able to be a part of it. And like I said, kind of show off some of the great sponsors like with 40 Raceware and everything too. So, yeah, great job here tonight, though, Chris. Like I said, tough one to pass at, but still able to grab that podium tonight. And there's nothing at all going on with the points, so just a really good podium finish here for you tonight. So, as always, though, before we let you go, got to give you the floor for any thanks and shout outs for that podium tonight.
Well, again, thanks 40 Raceware. Check out 40raceware.com. They got really nice boots, gloves, apparel. Um, thank you guys from the booth for broadcasting us. Craig putting on the league. Good job tonight for Matt on the win, and pulling off that undercut and doing what he need to maintain the lead and bring it home. So, and you know, thank you and good night.
All right, great job tonight, Chris. Go enjoy the evening, sir.
See you,
Thank you.
Chris.
See you, bud.
All right, so these are always the tough ones to do, though, Andrew. Is we got to jump over to our second place finisher. That is going to be the number 20 of Edson Santos. Started on pole, finishes in second. And Edson, I mean, unfortunately, we were able to kind of take a quick look at it there, and it just had to barely put your car in reverse for that last pit stop. I mean, if not for that, do you think you stay ahead of Matt during the pit stops, or did the short pit by Matt? Do you think it was going to be tight between you two?
Hello, guys. Good night. No. Actually, I lost 3.2, 3.3 second in the situation. So I was in P1, returning for the track didn't this situation. Well, I'm so frustrated. Maybe I can be happy with the result, because in the championship, P2 gave me a good point, but the way that I was in the race and losing like that in the pit stop when I missed my pit box is quite frustrating. Until now, I don't understand how I did something like that. And in this new UI, this new format in racing, I didn't realize that I had stopped further ahead. The message simply didn't appear to me, or appeared in a different place. And so I just it took me 3.2, 3.3 seconds to understand and go back. It was really bad. Probably I would win. And so as we were talking some weeks ago, maybe I should start in second. In this case, I could win, but it's not the case.
Well, it's actually very funny, Edson. I was just going to talk about your qualifying position and how you finish. So you kind of led into it there. I was mentioning during the broadcast itself that it seemed like whenever you started outside of the first place, that you seemed to have the best luck. And it was interesting to see you get the pole position there and continue forward and hold off everyone. And I was wondering how difficult it was to make your pit stop and try and break for the pit entry. And when you're out there in front and dominating the race as you did, do those things run through your mind of how you gotta make your pit stop so perfect and do everything you can? Do you go long? Do you go short? Do you make yourself vulnerable to a potential situation where if you pit early or late?
Actually, I was under pressure because Matt stopped 1 or 2 laps behind. And so it could be a little chance to make a undercut, but my advantage was pretty good. It was around 2 seconds, and so two laps and faster, like 2-3 tenths, I could return in the track around 1 second ahead. So it was almost set um, to make this end happy, but that's okay. P2 is not a bad result, and as I said, thinking in the championship, I guess considering the drop weeks, maybe I am in front in this moment. So
Well,
maybe
this is definitely not a bad week to finish P2, especially as the championship leader finished lower. So sometimes these things happen, and it could be good, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna put in my brain that Edson does much better when you're outside pole, which is not something that I would consider for my own self when I do that, trying to maintain the lead and everything like that.
yeah, sure. But I am happy also, and congrats, Matt, because of course took advantage of the situation, and that's okay. Another race you can be here again.
Yeah, no, like I said, yeah, of course you want to win, but yeah, a really good job, and yeah, next time you'll just have to qualify 2,000 slower to let Matt start first.
Exactly.
But no, a great job tonight. I mean, we saw it all night long. You had really good pace, especially on the later end of the race. So before we let you go, though, of course, like I said, you got some awesome sponsors on the car. Definitely want to give you the floor. Any thanks and shouts for that runner up tonight.
Yeah, to say hello for all of you from broadcast. Thank you for that. For the league, the organization by Craig, and a hug for my teammates here in Brazil from Linear Energy Racing. Yeah, that's it. So you can see in the next week.
All right, sounds good, Edson. Great job again tonight. Look forward to seeing you next week, sir.
Yeah, bye bye. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, that leaves us one fellow left to chat with, and that is going to be the number 6 of Matt Wagner. Went away from his part-time broadcasting role last week over at the Sim Gaming Expo and decided that he knows how to still turn left here at Motegi. But Matt, I'd say obviously we went back, we saw there was a hiccup on Edson's pit stop, but I feel like kind of put it in their heads there where you decided to short pit there. Obviously, it's a risk versus reward strategy there. I mean, was that in this situation where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to take the gamble. Maybe the undercut's going to do the magic I need, because you would be all over Edson for the first couple laps there, try to get the spot. And then, of course, once things kind of equaled out tire-wise, and then you get the dirty air situation that's pretty much known here at Motegi. I mean, take us through that final stretch and that strategy there to pit there when you did.
Yeah, I've been trying to. I love the undercut here. It's pretty powerful here. I had to make my fuel number first, then I could try the undercut, because I was sitting there watching my fuel. As soon as I got the green light, I was in the pits, because I noticed the first time around when I did a slight undercut on Edson, the first time around, I think I gained probably about 0.7 of a second when I did, because he pitted the lap after. And I was like, okay, hopefully he doesn't pit right after me. He did. So he was paying attention. And luckily he had a mistake on his pit stop. He came over and told me that he missed his box. And I was like, oh, I'm like, okay. I've been there. We all been there and done that, so I'm just kind of grateful for that. So kind of a little revenge on the Homestead race, I guess.
Yeah, Matt, it's actually kind of interesting you say that, because I feel like out of all the cars that were the top 5 tonight, you seem to be the most raciest, especially when it came to the starts and the restarts. You put yourself too wide, turn 1 and 2, turn 3 and 4 for the first couple laps or so, and you were truly trying to make those positions. So how do you balance going for the position versus saying, you know what, I want to save fuel and I want to possibly do an undercut. I have good tires at the end of my run, and I'm going to come in a couple laps early to try and reinvigorate my tires and go for the faster laps there. Like, you want to go for it, but you don't want to burn your stuff off either. So how do you balance that?
Clean air, buddy. You know better than anybody else. It was really tough to find the clean air once Chris Stouffer passed me. I wanted to run the high line, and Shane was running there, so I was kind of trying to do, slow down a little bit on the very top side and just kind of cut down, and that was how I was able to past Chris there. But unfortunately, when I was talking to Chris earlier, he said he hit that bump, so that was kind of a beneficiary. So, like I said, at Twin Ring, clean air is king here. For order to make the moves, you have to fly in the clean air, and without the clean air, you're just gonna be slow. And running the top side, I think, is really, really beneficiary for me, because Edson's got that clean air and he wants to run the bottom. So that's why I was able to hang with him and make the moves that I was able to do, and the rest is history.
Can I ask one more question? I want to know what you were ranting and rambling on about me at the beginning of the race there. I heard you say something, but I was talking. So. I heard a bunch of stuff about shouting out to me, and I had no idea what was going on. I was trying to.
I was giving you the business. You know how it is, Andrew. I was saying I was washed here because every time I come to this racetrack at Area 51, it's always second. Now I got it first. I was saying I was washed. So I guess the wash is...
Trust me, I heard it. It was happening, but I was trying to listen to Gael in one ear and you in the other, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on right now.
Oh, okay. So the rant was, as you know, we got the new UI. I have a problem that I don't know if anybody else has, but so if I type in the text chat, if I type the letter A in the text chat, it does not work. It doesn't want to send messages at all. I press the enter key. It doesn't want to send anything at all. So iRacing, fix your, well, I can't really say it on broadcast, but fix your stuff.
Yeah, don't get in trouble.
Well, yeah, your second place is my 22nd place, so I'll just leave it at that.
Oh, come on now.
But no, it was again a really, really good run tonight, Matt. Obviously, and like I said, I feel like we talked about it where you tried the undercut and it forced the hands of drivers to, all right, how quick do we maybe want to react or anything like that, and saying is unfortunate for some where mistakes can happen, and that's why you, even with the dirty air, you still got to push as hard as you can to kind of keep them in that kind of that window of potential issues. So yeah, I mean, you did everything right there that you needed to do. I was telling Andrew after tonight's race, the top 4 drivers are only apart by 28 points. So it's gonna be a fun battle with you, Stouffer, Forsyth, and Santos. It's gonna be a fun stretch to the finish. I was saying right now, it's with the 2 drop weeks accounted for as well. So really, really good job tonight, sir. But before we let you go and enjoy it, we got to give you the floor. Any thanks and shout outs for that win this evening?
I got a lot of shout outs to make, after the Sim Gaming Expo.
So he's famous now.
Shout out to Ryan Kelly. I actually met the guy over there. Pretty cool dude. It was really nice to see him start from the pits and finish 5th. That was a great, awesome job by him. And Daniel Durazo, he started 21st, I believe, and finished 4th. That's my teammate. Really awesome job by those guys. Once again, you guys for the broadcast, and special shout out to Gary Godso over at the P1. Thank you for inviting me to help you broadcast. That was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy that Tony Kanaan signature on your GSI, which you never use. So, guys, it's been real. I'm glad to get a win here. It feels so great. So, glad to get that monkey off my back. So, y'all take care and have yourself a good night.
All right. Take care, Matt. Congrats again, sir.
Yeah, thank you, man.
All right, Andrew, that is our race winner. Somewhere in that smoke is that number 6 car. But, I mean, we talked about the UI at the get-go, and I would have never suspected that we would be talking about it post-race where Edson overshooting his pit stall a little bit, but had no idea because the overlays were different and he didn't see it, or just maybe it was in a different spot, or maybe not set up the way it used to be. And whether or not that was the difference maker, we don't know. But it's just one of those things where that, again, something that changes that you don't think about, and it makes a huge difference, unfortunately, in this situation for him.
I think it's one of those things where you're so used to just seeing things one way, and things could change, especially if you're not used to or comfortable with how things really run in your eyes. Like you're trying to watch your pit box, you're trying to watch everything else, and that could really throw you off, even if it just seems like a small thing. These things really matter to these guys. So it was very unfortunate for Edson to have that happen to him. But I mean, sometimes one person's disadvantage is another person's advantage, and Matt took full advantage of that tonight. So congrats to him for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's exactly it, and that's what we're saying is, I mean, you still got to kind of keep him honest, and maybe Edson felt that a little bit of extra pressure knowing that Matt did the undercut, and it's like, okay, I got to make sure I nail everything, and just got a little too aggressive on the pit stop there, hitting a stall. But I said just that delay, obviously, from there. But say peeking in the chat, there was also Shane Coker just popped in there mentioning, obviously, with his 6th place finish, so that's his best ever Area 51 finish. So great job, Shane. Like I said, I loved the strategy. It's really fun to see how it played out there at the end, Andrew. And that's what I love to see, is I love someone that's going to try something different, and literally nobody else tried it. He was the only one to make that gamble, and he's able to bring it home just outside the top 5 tonight.
I don't think I understand exactly why no one else did that strategy. If someone's doing the early pit stop strategy, you really want to go for it and stick to it. And that's something that Shane did tonight, and he deserves all the praise that he rightfully put in that chat there. So good job to Shane tonight. I'm actually very impressed with that run that he had, and I'm happy to see someone really go for it and do something a little bit different from what everyone else does.
Yeah, and that's exactly me as well. As I love the gambles, be it running it long on field, short pitting like we saw as well for some of these. And so that's what makes it all the extra interesting. Was if everybody's doing the exact same thing, then you're not going to see a lot of change. So, yeah, 100% on that one as well. So yeah, I say always fun to see them get their best results. And next week, Andrew, we got another oval, but this is going to be a whole different animal. That is the Charlotte Motor Speedway Oval here, September 23rd. I do not know what to expect for that one. That track, even though it's kind of the typical 1.5 mile oval, it feels narrow, to put it nicely. That is going to be quite the interesting race here next week.
I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be a whole different beast. We don't get to see these cars run the 1.5 mile ovals very often, but that turn 4 is definitely a sneaky one. So when you practice, go for it and really try and see how close you can get to the wall without touching it on the exit. So I'm excited to see how these cars react to that.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. So that will be it for us this week. We'll be back in 1 week's time, back here tonight on the Tuesday series for the IndyCars. Friday and Sunday are both off weeks for the Super Speedway to prep for the playoffs. And then we'll be back here, and then we'll start the playoffs over there on the Super Speedway side. So, Andrew, as always, man, pleasure doing these with you. It's always a ton of fun. So thank you for everything there. And yeah, everybody that's watching and supporting us here on Green White Checker TV, always fun to see you chime in the chat. And if you're watching and not chiming in, don't be shy. If you have any questions, if you want to see anybody, that's what we're here for. Like I said, we want to kind of show you what you want to see. So definitely don't hesitate on there. So until next time, as always, take care, stay safe, have a good night.